3,
Hello.
2,
I love you.
Love you too.
3, 2,
Alright, I'll be right back.
1. Hello, everyone. Welcome to StraightAMagic. Dawson here, back with my compatriots of X Kirby, Hirobi Gamble, and Busted Headphones. And we are recording drafting mono red commanders because, man, we haven't done this in a minute, and I'm super fucking ready, super amped. And today I will be going first. Then it will be my fellow Busted Headphones, then Hirobi Gamble, then X Kirby. Sounds like a pretty dope draft ahead of us. Mono red? I don't know. This will be kind of spicy.
Yes.
But with the number 1 overall draft pick, I'm taking the one, the only, best red commander in the game, Cranko Mob Boss. Busted, I know he's not in your top 5, but man, Cranko Mob Boss is the most played mono red commander for a reason. He's goblins, he taps them, he untaps, he can tap them again. Boom, you have like 20, 50, a million creatures, and you kill everybody. Goblins killing everybody, great theme for mono red. That is my number 1 overall pick.
Absolutely perfect. Again, my first mono red deck, so Clico's got a soft spot in my heart. But this one has been creeping up on my list. Slicer, Iron Muscle.
Damn it.
If you want to aggro a player, Slicer's the way. Giving him the ability to go to your opponents and having him swing every single turn is just absolutely disgusting. And you can close out games on turn 3 or 4 in a commander pod, which that usually doesn't happen, but commander damage sticks to the card, so it's just very, very oppressive.
Very nice.
I like that.
Very nice. For my number 1 pick, I've played it times before with people in our server. It's my favorite red commander ever. It is just, it embodies my love of Stompy in the red color. It's Ilharg the Raised Boar. It's a sneak attack on a stick. It's a 6/6. It's got trample for 5 mana. All I know is that you've never experienced life until you attack with an Ilharg and plop down either a Blightsteel or an Ancient Copper Dragon and roll a 19. It's quite fun. So Ilharg the Raised Boar is my number 1 pick.
Very nice. Is that me next?
That's you.
Alright, for my pick number 1, I'm gonna go with a commander that terrorized me when I first started playing Commander, and that is Perforos, God of the Forge.
No!
Hey, yo, knock off
What?
Panko.
No!
Yep.
Ah!
One of the original Goblin commanders, just for that static ability, dealing 2 damage to each opponent when any creature enters the battlefield. Pretty good. And then for my pick number 2, I'm gonna go with an interesting partner combination
Ooh.
of
Hey, yo.
Dargo the Shipwrecker with Jeska Thrice Reborn. This is a deck that I've seen a couple of people build, and it is so much better than you anticipate. It's a killer. Swings hard, it swings fast, and it puts out some serious damage.
Heck yeah.
Interesting.
Hirobi,
For my
back to you.
pick 2, thank you, sir. I'm gonna
You're
go for
welcome.
one that I think has been getting. I think basically every set it gets at least one spell that it can add to its arsenal that can end up being really, really good. You can generate so much card advantage off of like 2 cards by turn 3. And I think the deck just works really cool. It's kind of similar to Cranko, but not really because it's more Spellslinger. I've got Zada Hedron Grinder.
Ow!
Man, dude, this deck can go
Damn it.
so crazy, so fast. It spirals out of control. If you've even got like 3 or 4 creatures and you cast a cantrip, suddenly you're drawing 3 cards for a mana. You're replacing that card twofold. I think this deck is sick. I think this card is sick. So Zada is my pick 2.
Y'all killing me.
I just want to mention before we get any farther. Again, with the mono red, almost all the commanders are just going to be, hey, let's do a lot of damage as quick as possible.
Yeah,
So,
very-
I-
saying that, my next pick is Lelia, the Blade with Forge.
oh, thank God.
Nice.
So many ways to exile cards. Because Red loves to have its exile effects instead of drawing. She gets really big. Again, you're hitting for commander damage, and things like Cascade just go wild. Where each instance of hitting a card until you hit the one that actually can be cascaded into puts another counter on her. So she just hits big and hits fast.
Actual.
Very, very fair, very tasty. Love that pick as well.
I like it. I like it.
Was not on my radar, but very respectable pick. But since Perforos and Zada have both went, who were number 5 and 2 respectively, I'm going to go ahead and pick up my number 3 spot of Neheb. Well, no, my number 2 spot, who actually is my number 3, Neheb the Eternal. Man, the amount of mana you can make with Neheb, go out, play Hidetsuku, and like tap and deal like 20 damage to everybody, make a bunch of mana, then just fireball. Oh my gosh, Neheb the Eternal can be so fucking nasty. He's just a great also body anyway, 4/6 who can afflict 3. Very, very good, very classic type mono red type of doing damage, getting mana, and steamrolling everybody. Always good to see. But in round 3 with my kind of snake draft pick here, I'm going to go with a little bit more of a different kind of style because mono red has mostly damage dealers and all that good stuff. But there's a little bit of flavor here with Magda, Brazen Outlaw, kind of more dwarf tribal, getting some treasures, making some treasures, then kind of also sacking those treasures to go get some good value dragons, artifacts, or whatever. However you want to build it, Magda still kind of falls out in that kind of you want to do damage fast range and big dragons or dwarves going wide. So you're still doing a bunch of damage and still being aggressive, but it's a little bit different with the artifact kind of subponent to it. So I like having a little bit of different variety. Tokens, dwarfs, a little bit different variety, and also doing a lot of damage in the Heb. I like my 3rd pick at Magda.
Valid.
Definitely a good
Boosted.
deal with the Neheb. So trying to lean a little bit away from just hey, let's do damage. I'm going to choose one of the newest cards. I feel Calamity Galloping Inferno.
Ooh.
Now,
Ooh.
this card is a menace
Solid.
when it's in things other than mono red, but even with mono red, the ability to make will make multiple copies of creatures, whether they're big beaters or they have great ETB effects. Calamity, can play into that token game that everybody loves, and it's pretty good having that in the command zone. So I feel like it's a solid 3rd pick.
Nice.
I like it.
I've got a lot to choose from here. I'm lucky in that aspect. Not a lot of mine have been picked yet. And I'm tempted to go with one that is more damage, but I think I'm going to hope and pray that it comes back around to me. So for now, I'm going to pick a more unique and niche commander that can get very out of control very quickly. I'm going to choose Norin the Wary.
Oh, very good.
Motherfucker.
So Norin has a lot of really cool applications with some very niche cards that can be really scary. I think there's one that lets you swap a permanent with something other people control every time he comes into play, which just feels really, really mean. I've played against multiple Norin decks, and every time they become so scary out of nowhere, when for the first turns you're like, oh, it's just a 0/1 they can't do anything, or 2/1 they can't do anything. It's super fun. So that's my pick 3.
And really hard to stop.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
For my pick 3, I'm going to go with also one of the less commonly played ones. I'm going to go with Ashling the Pilgrim.
Good pick.
It's very red. Very on theme with red. You put counters, you remove all those counters, and you just lay the whole board on fire. Basically, you just start a big ass bonfire and you just sit back and watch.
Heck yeah. What's your pick 4, Curb?
And then for my pick 4, I'm going to go with Torbran, Thane of Redfell.
So good.
For 4 mana, anytime a red source deals damage to an opponent or permanent opponent controls, it deals damage +2, which is just really good when you consider all of the little burn effects you can get in red. Just pumps those up, deals a lot more damage, and for 4 mana, very doable. Get him out early. Start slinging spells. Hirobi, back to you.
Oh, heck yeah, I appreciate it. So 2 of these cards that are already kind of on the board, actually more than that even, could be considered more competitive commanders. I have yet to pick one of those, so that's what I'll be doing now, just getting one of my more competitively seen picks out of the way. O'Hare Actional, Deepest Might, will be my pick 4. I have an O'Hare deck in paper. It is probably pretty close to my strongest competitive deck, because even boosting O'Hare's power to 6 or 7, and then having some tapper creatures or some pinger creatures that trigger whenever you cast an instant or sorcery can suddenly be a total of 24 damage around the table by casting 3 spells. This deck goes absurdly fast. The commander is 4 mana, and it's incredibly resilient too, because it just turns into a land, and then you can transform it very, very easily. I think this card was absurd. I love this deck, and I love this theme of card. So yeah, Busted, back to you, buddy.
Well, I'm surprised that hasn't been taken yet. It was mentioned earlier, so I'm going to have Heartless Pedasugu. Again, Red does what Red wants to do. It deals a lot of damage very quickly. And the best part about Heartless is he is doing the damage, so you can give him things like lifelink. So you're really negating the life you're losing and gaining however much your opponent's lost. And if you have any kind of double effects that only affect your opponents, you could insta-kill them. So Heartless is just really fun as long as he gets to stick around on the board. So solid 4th pick.
Very, very solid. You know, honestly, he's just outside my top 20, so very, very solid pick, though. Respect it. But I have to kind of go with a thing that really hasn't really gone with red, because it exists. The theme exists, but it's not as prominent without other colors involved. I'm going to go artifact themed, and of course, there's only one great artifact commander for mono red, and that's Bosch Iron Golem. 6/7 with trample, sacrificing artifacts, dealing damage to other players based on their CMC, getting value off that, returning those artifacts for free with some other kind of cool cards in mono red. Debated on Duretti because everybody knows I love my Planeswalker commanders, but he's one of the big guys to sacrifice, a lonely treasure to then bring back, a Spine of Ishal or something along those lines. To just keep on sacrificing it and keep on getting great value. Bosch Iron Golem, definitely my 4th pick. But with that said, I always go with some sort of more fun, more niche pick near the end of the draft where I know people probably not going to think about it. But man, this time I'm going to punish you guys because I'm bringing out the one, the only, Zozu the Punisher. Whenever a player plays a land, they get 2 damage played on them. So,
classic red commander.
Mono red, hateful, classic commander, as Curve said. Punishes those mono green decks so much. I love it. Zozu will kind of come out and just do a bunch of damage and just be annoying. So no one ever wants to get rid of him because it's not a ton of damage, but now I'm at 30 just from playing 5 lands. Oh gosh. So I love Zozu. A little bit more of a thematical pick for mono red near the end. So that is my final pick for the mono red draft.
Well, following your theme, I think I've got a pretty clear final pick. And this is, again, a fun one, not necessarily the strongest, but a fun one. My choice is Chandra Fire Kaladesh.
Mm-hmm.
It's the strongest mono red commander, not even in the slightest. But you can have a Chandra Fireball deck. You can just be doing a little spell slinger stuff to keep untapping her, flip her to that backside. And if you ever get that emblem off, she is going to just destroy your opponents. She's really fun, and again, Chandra Tribal. There's so many Chandra cards, so you can really just run away with it if you want.
For sure.
Heck yeah. Man, this last pick is going to be hard for me because I've got a bunch that haven't been taken yet that I really enjoy. All of which I've built either on Untap or in real life. But you know, something that somebody said about there being only one good mono red artifact commander kind of tickled my rage bone. So I'm gonna fight back. I'm gonna fight back against that statement.
Reroll the clip. Reroll the clip.
No,
Replay.
no, you're fine. And I'm not gonna pick an artifact commander, but it is kind of an artifact commander because it's more Voltron. And honestly, it is a very much a sleeper Voltron pick. I'm picking Volbuk, Keeper of the Flame. So for those who don't know what Volbuk does, or what he is, he's kind of absurd for an uncommon. Human Shaman at the beginning of combat in return for each aura and equipment attached to Volbuk, create a 3/1 red elemental with trample and haste. So it kind of combines wanting to go big and tall and swing for commander damage while creating a crap ton of tokens that are 3/1s, which is not small, and dealing damage across the table instead of focusing down one opponent at a time. This deck is very unique, very diverse, and it plays kind of like a classic Voltron, but you get to play some super cool mono red auras and equipments that end up working really, really well in Volbuk's favor. So that's very my cool pick 5.
And I think you touched on it, but something I think in Commander, anytime you have an uncommon commander, that's always like just a little bit of like bonus flavor points for the deck.
Agreed. I agree.
For my last pick, I'm gonna go with a deck that I don't think I've ever really played, and I've never seen it played. But while I was looking for my options for the draft, I saw it, and it seems like it'd actually be pretty fun to play. Imodane the Pyro Hammer. Whenever an instant or sorcery spell you can control that targets only a single creature deals damage to that creature, Imodane deals that much damage to each opponent. And that seems like fun. Especially if you maybe potentially get a bunch of mana and then use one of Red's like many X spells to deal like 30 or 40 damage to a single creature. Just blow up the board. So that's my final pick for mono red.
Heck yeah.
Well, there we have it. Here are all the commanders that everybody has picked. I'm just hovering over them as for each player as time goes on. But pretty dang good draft. Mono red's always a bit of fun to have here. Honestly, while it is just damage, go fun, and go big, it can be a lot of fun too. So give some mono red some credit. It's a fun draft at the very least. Who had the best draft? Let us know in the comments below. And any final notes, boys?
Not mine.
No.
I think it was me, but you know, let them have a little bit of praise, if you will.
Yeah, I'm sure. Cranko Mob Boss carries rules. Easy. See you guys in the next one.